Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the TFL Podcast. You're here with myself, Rowan the Boy, and our very esteemed co-host here, Arch, making waves with his technical prowess this evening.
Absolutely, yeah, that definitely was full screen video intro the whole time there.
Mm-hmm. It was good. Well, we're here. It's week 11.
How are we here, Rowan? How are we here?
Is it just me, or is there such a thing as season fatigue?
Oh, it's I think mid-season, slump. I don't know, just getting through the weeks now.
Yeah, that's it. We're doing it.
But I'm up and about. What are we talking about?
Good. That's good.
Yes.
Hey, we got another slate to talk about. I love talking football, so here we are. That's what we do. We're doing what we love. So get on board, everyone. It's fantastic to have you here, and you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, and if you're watching on YouTube right now, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are live as we speak. If you're watching right now, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Get us in the algorithm. Come on, do your thing. Subscribe and like.
Thumbs up.
Bloop. That's right. And, of course, Patreon at the TFL Podcast, thetflpodcast.com. Give us 5-star reviews. We love that. Share us with your mates, everyone who wants to win money in NFL DFS or just, talk crap about football. Hey, that's what we're here to do. Love that. We got a Discord chat. Got to join the Patreon for that. But, hey, it's only $2 a month. We'll talk more about that later.
Oh, we will. And, don't you worry.
That's right. Plug it out. But, yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to jump into the slate this week. But first, Chris, how you going, mate? How was last week for you?
Look, one of my better weeks, I think. Obviously, I've changed over the last couple of weeks my strategy from max entering the micro and focusing in on the smaller mini with just the 10 entry maxes and just trying a different approach with my game strategy. And I think that either I got lucky or it's starting to work. So we'll see. So I out of my 10 entries, I went 5 stacks of one QB and 5 stacks of another. So I just really condensed my player pool, and I chose my stacks around Dallas and Buffalo, and that went okay. It went really well. Yeah, especially the Dallas ones that had CeeDee and Zeke. I think that was a fairly unique stack that did well. A lot of people would have probably paired a Lamb with a Schultz, or a lot of people went Amari, and so that stack went well. And Josh Allen just did really well. And I think really what it came down to, if AJ Brown actually did what I hoped he would do, and same with a bit of I missed on Mike Evans. I think I should have realised how chalky he'd be and faded him. He was over 30% in that contest, which is outrageous a play for me. So, missed there. But on the whole, I think my process was clear, and that's what I didn't go, on feelings and emotions. I had a strategy, went with it, and it paid off well. Like I was profitable, but didn't win. Which is what I'm actually trying to do, though.
Yeah, that's right. You want to take it out. Yeah, I similar thing in terms of last week. I definitely condensed my player pool, which worked out really, really nicely for me as well. So, profited on the Monday slate, which was great. Really appreciated that one. That's for sure. But bit different process. I still went on the micro, so the 50-cent comp, and put in 50 lineups. I had 5 quarterbacks, 5 stacks that I went with. So that was Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Carson Wentz, Josh Allen, Matt Ryan, and 6. I put 10 per stack, and then I put 5 Matt Ryan and 5 Dak Prescott. And I'm glad to put the Dak Prescott ones in
Yes.
there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because aside from Dak and Josh Allen, everyone else pretty much shut the bed. Like, it wasn't nice to watch these guys that you're building everything on and actually do poorly. Like 15 points from Tom Brady is very disappointing. I think it was 12 or 13 for Justin Herbert. Matt Ryan just disappeared after 2.5 quarters.
I thought you were going to say 2.5 points.
Yeah, well, that's right.
That's what it felt like.
It certainly did. But Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, really, you could have had either of those guys and you would have been fine. The thing is, though, like, they didn't necessarily break the slate either. Like, there was just mid-20s scores from both of those guys. So, actually, one of my lineups that did fairly well was a Tom Brady lineup. It still did all right. But that's because I had Deonis Johnson and Jonathan Taylor there in running back land, which was very, very helpful. So, yeah, it's a funny game. This. Stephon Diggs, great to see him finally break out for the year and have one of his ceiling games, 30-odd points, which was fantastic. So I had him in a few spots, which definitely helped buoy some of those other lineups. So I think that's the thing. Like, if you can hit the guy that goes off outside of the stack, like, sure, I had him attached to Josh Allen, which was good, but in those other lineups where I had Tom Brady, having Diggs in there still allowed for those lineups to kind of push up the ranks just enough to kind of cash and keep things rolling over so that my week was profitable on the whole. So that was nice. That was good to be part of.
And it was our first week with real cheap running back options with volume. And
it was.
Every lineup had at least one of Deonis Johnson or Mark Ingram. Probably where I let myself down is I didn't react properly to the late news that Ramondre was the back that he was in. And I guess and maybe as well, I didn't quite believe that he'd be the guy. But when the cards were turned over, he was 1 or 2% owned, and he outdid it. Like, he was the difference maker. And so I just had him in nothing. And so looking back, that's probably where I let myself down.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brandon Bolden was like, oh, what do we do with him? But actually, the Patriots love to run the ball. And Brandon Bolden's not in it. He isn't an in-between the tackles guy. It's Ramondo Stevenson there when Damian Harris isn't it. Damian Harris will be back this week, though, however, so keep an eye on that. All right, well, let's jump in. Let's jump into Week 11, hey? Let's do it.
Oh, no. Yeah! Week 11 preview time, yeah. This is one of the old-time lows.
The more you talk about it, Arch, the more it will become an old-time low. So if you shut up.
Then it might get good. You see, we'll lull them into this is wow, these guys are good. No, look, left the fader down from the intro. Should have pumped it back up just for those playing at home wondering what's going on. So
they're not. Anyway, we do a quick head-to-head on a Thursday night football showdown. So, of course, we're playing Draft Stars. Unfortunately, here in Australia, DraftKings
what else would you play?
Gone. That's right, because Draft Stars is the way to go. It's where all the Australians can play. So we are Australian, so we talk about Draft Stars. So, makes sense. Anyway, we got a game between Atlanta and New England happening tomorrow.
We do.
It's going to be... I'm not sure how to read this one. It's a little bit ugly. It really
smells like
game.
Thursday night football to me.
Oh, it certainly does, doesn't it? Mac Jones taking on Matt Ryan. We've got the Patriots as 6.5-point favourites. I think that's not generous enough, to be honest. I think the Patriots will probably steamroll the Falcons. The Falcons without Calvin Ridley, of course. Potentially without Cordero Patterson as well.
The thing.
So, that's a big thing for me, whether Cordero Patterson gets up and plays or not. So, look.
He's priced as if he's not. Isn't he? Like, he's priced as if he's not going to get up for it.
No, that's right. I think they've got him at 6K roundabouts on Draft Stars, and that's, compared to like Mac Jones, who's sitting at the top at 21K. It's pretty crazy teams here. So, look, that's all right. Arch, we put in a head-to-head together.
We have.
Have you got the teams there for the YouTubers to watch? There it is. Very nice. I'll run through my team, and then you can run through yours. So I've got here Kendrick Bourne, Damian Harris, Jacoby Myers, and Mac Jones for the Patriots, and then Olamide Zaccheaus, the touchdown king, and Kyle Pitts. Really, I'm going for upside here. Yeah. With Zaccheaus, he's a cheaper option. I don't love Matt Ryan here. I think the Patriots defense is too good. Kyle Pitts is the clear one, really.
Yep.
If Cordero Patterson, of course, doesn't get up. So I like that. Damian Harris has cleared the concussion protocol, so I'm going to run with him as the main guy. I don't think Ramondre is going to trouble too much. So anyway, there you go. That's my lineup.
No, I like it. When I was
Arch?
flicking through mine, I pretty much had that as one of my iterations that I was toying with. So it might be one in my one of my lineups going forward into the main contest. But for our head to head, I thought I'd change things up a bit, and I was just trying to think about what could happen in this game, and it could just be a big snore fest and a run fest, really, with New England. And so that's why I thought I'd get different and do a 2 running back build, which potentially is not going to be very popular. Sometimes that's
true.
In a low scoring game, this could be a way to that we could get some leverage. I don't like Mike Davis, and I hate that. I don't like. That's probably my one piece that I don't like.
Yeah, it's ugly, isn't it?
But Hunter Henry can only catch touchdowns every week, so I know that there's 10. He's going to meet his salary there. Mac Jones, you just need the winning quarterback in the game, don't you? It's going to be rare to have the optimal lineup without him. And Kyle Pitts is the offense now, isn't he?
It certainly is.
Yeah, but if Cordaro's in, that's what I do. Is it's a Mike Davis for Cordero. Like, it's just a no-brainer. And that's what I'm doing if he's playing Rowan for our head-to-head. By the way, I'm allowed to say that, aren't I?
You are. I think I'll probably have to. I think I'll have to change Kendrick Bourne. I think.
No, you can't do that. Only I can.
Only you can do that. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Because I've gone Atlanta running back. All right, that's my spot.
Sure. Okay. No worries. I do actually like Mike Davis though in the spot. He's going to get all the opportunities.
Well, it's a volume play, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And he's getting targeted. Like, he's still catching the ball.
That's right. So Hayden Hurst out as well, by the way. So Kyle Pitts. I mean, it will be interesting to watch because Kyle Pitts could seriously play as more of an inline tight end, which might actually limit his upside here. So if you're looking at the Patriots defense, they're all banged up, by the way. Limited practices everywhere on their injury report on the defensive side of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see who's playing for one, and so what the weaknesses are on that side of the ball. Yeah, potentially you're looking at Zacchaeus and Gage to actually get more attention in terms of from Matt Ryan, more targets, because they're relying on Pitts to play the extra blocker more this week. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not looking forward to it per se, but there's definitely there's DFS lineups to be had. So
yeah, that's it. There's
put a few in.
Anyway, that's why we watch these games half the time that we don't want to watch. It's because we've got something going on them.
I still love football. I always watch football.
I like good football though.
Yeah, but some football's better than no football. So I'm going to ride that out. All right, let's jump into the main slate.
Yes,
let's jump in. We're going to start off here with Chicago and Baltimore. We've got Baltimore as 5-point favorites. It's a 45.5 point total. And when I'm looking at this, the question of whether this game is stackable or not is a really tricky one for mine, because I like Lamar. How could you not like Lamar? And Marquise Brown is an absolute jet. So I'm looking at these guys and I'm going, okay, I want to play them somehow. And against Chicago, the question that I have is, what's the defense going to do to Justin Fields? And what does that mean Baltimore need to do? Last week or the week before? Gosh, Miami, when they played Baltimore, that's last week, sorry. Miami just blitzed them all day. And Lamar had no way out. It was very surprising. He targeted Marquise Brown a lot. Marquise Brown, I think, only drew, he had 13 targets, was it? Either way, he had a lot. He had a lot of targets, and he only brought in about half of them. And he did not have the game that we would have expected of him. So I think they want to turn this around, but the question is, will Chicago just take on board what Miami did to win and do that right back to them? So I think what we've seen here is a legitimate flaw if defenses know what to do. So that is what gets me very hesitant about Lamar. So if I'm looking at this slate going, I only want to play 4 or 5 quarterbacks, well, there's question marks here around Lamar that I have to seriously consider. So that's the thing that is probably going on in my mind. Of course, I'd love to say, yeah, stack Lamar with Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews. Sure, why not? Like, that's chances are I'll get to Monday for us, and I'll probably have 10 lineups with Lamar Jackson in there with Marquise Brown and Andrews spread throughout. But that's just the question is also then, okay, did they run it? Could you play Lamar naked by himself with no receivers? And the answer is probably yes as well. So either way, I'm looking at this.
Rowan.
I'm going, yes, I could, but I don't know if I'm sure if I can.
Rowan.
Big fence sitter here. Yes, Arch.
Can I just share you a little something?
Look, I have thought about
what do you think
Fields
about a Justin Fields, Allen Robinson? Bring it back with Marquise Brown. Look how you could do anything you want with your lineup after this.
You really can.
They are so cheap. And Fields, he's getting better. Like, he's looking okay. He almost hit 20 points last week, 29 points, DraftKings points the week before.
Yeah.
He's got a rushing floor. And Baltimore, it's not the Baltimore defense of old. This is not a Chicago-Baltimore matchup from years ago. Like, they're different teams, and their defenses aren't that good. I think that there's some value on the Chicago side.
That's fair. I think it's definitely possible. My reservation, I guess, is Allen Robinson from this year, not Allen Robinson from last year.
Sure.
So there's a question.
But who else is Fields going to throw to?
Darnell Mooney.
Yes.
I'd almost play Mooney over A-Rob.
Yep.
Just because of what we've seen so far this year and what Fields has been doing. Baltimore, they are, what am I looking at here? 8th. They're 8th hardest to score against for wide receivers in terms of DK points. So that's another question mark. Here's the other thing, though, that I'll throw at you and get on board with you. If I'm going to play Fields, I'd play Komet.
Yes.
I'd play Komet. He is one of my punt tight ends for the week. He's only 6.3K, I believe, and sitting there against the Ravens. Last time they played 2 weeks ago, they had the bye last week. He pulled in, he had 8 targets, and he pulled in 6 of them for 87 yards, which is just monstrous. But the 2 weeks before that, he had 6 targets and 6 targets as well. So Fields is coming on board, and he's enjoying playing with Cole. Cole Komet. And
just Cole. Your first name basis, right?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, 6.8K on DraftStars. But he's a cheap tight end, and I can definitely see Cole Komet hitting the end zone. So look,
and this is all pointing to Fields doing okay. We're a rushing floor, throwing a couple touchdowns. That's all he needs to do at his salary. Am I actually? I don't know. Am I talking myself into this, Rowan, or is there actually value here?
I think there is. Like Justin Fields.
It's not just because I'm his dynasty manager in our league, is it?
Don't let that filter in. Justin Fields is 11.7K. Look, really, if you need him to pay off, you need him to hit 20 points. That's what you're looking for. He has to hit 20 points. Now, last week he hit 19.1. The week before, 29.3. So he's coming into his own. They seem to know how to use him. Of course, Montgomery.
But he's not going to sink your lineup if he scores 15.
No, it's not going to sink it. Not at all.
Because you're going to have big ceiling plays. Because that's the thing. You need a lot of salary to get the high ceilings at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've spoken long enough.
I think we have. But
about Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, oh man, we both like him. That's the reality. And Cole Komet. Play Cole Komet.
I tell you what, I'd have some, large plums to put him into one of my 2 QBs though for the 10 mini.
But you would. But hey, it'd be pretty sweet. Like if you did that, if you had 5 lineups in the mini, all of Justin Fields, and they all hit,
ownership would be. I'd probably be the only one.
You could take spots 1 to 5. That would be something else. I might do this, Rowan. I might do it. Look, you can play 5 other safe quarterbacks. There's plenty of safe quarterbacks on the slate that are going to cost you enough. Anyway, let's move on to a game that you can run through real quick because no one cares about it. It's Cleveland versus Detroit. Detroit, 11-point underdogs here with a 43.5-point total. What are we doing here, Arch? Just to make it quick because I hate this game.
Yeah. Look, both teams are slow. Look, there's points on the Cleveland side, which makes me think, the running back's the option here that you can play, so you can score there. I don't mind Hawkinson this week. I think I think he's going to have really low ownership and he's not super expensive.
Oh, no one's playing Hawk.
The only reason I say this is, look, he's not going to score a touchdown most likely. Like, you can't bank on it, but the volume. And so in a PPR format, which is what we've got, I mean, who else are they throwing the ball to?
Swift, that's it.
That's it. And so I think they can do that, and there'll be quick dump offs. I think there's volume enough there to do a mini correlation with the running back on Cleveland's side. And so, has Chubb been activated from the COVID list yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're waiting on it.
If there's a chance he doesn't come back, I mean, you smashed Ernest Johnson again. But still, Chubb's still definitely a good play. Even, he's 1,400. That's not super expensive either, and we saw what he did before he went out. So I don't mind that. But yeah, Hawk is a risky play, but I don't mind a little mini stack between, no quarterbacks involved, just Hawk and a Cleveland running back, whoever's the guy.
For sure. Could you play, Cleveland are a funny team. Could you play the Detroit defense at base 4K here?
Ooh.
They scored 7 points against Pittsburgh last week.
Yeah, that's
I kind of view them similarly. These Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Yeah, and look, Mayfield's the most banged up he's ever been. He told in a press conference. So yeah, he could make some really bad errors. I don't mind that.
So's Goff, by the way. He is dealing with rib issues and whatnot. Who knows what we're going to get there? So
who'd be a quarterback?
Oh,
anyone, because they get paid a shirtload. So
that's right. Okay, cool. Let's keep moving on. We got Minnesota taking on Green Bay. Green Bay, a 2.5-point favorite. It's a 49-point total here. And the question is, can we play people from this game? And I was telling you, Arch, before we hit record that I can't get around playing Green Bay stacks. Aaron Rodgers is not showing a ceiling at all. They're playing the slowest out of every team in the competition. And so really, I mean, there's two people I'd consider playing in this game from the Green Bay side of that. It's Devontae Adams as a ceiling wide receiver, albeit hasn't quite shown the ceiling this year. He's still a target hog. He's still number one in usage. So we're looking at that and going, okay, sure. You can still play Devontae Adams. Oh, look, one thing I like to use is Hayden Winks from Underdog Fantasy. He has a fantasy usage model that he puts out every week. And Devontae Adams is the wide receiver 6 in terms of fantasy usage. So he's dropped down. He's got below guys like Keenan Allen, Marquise Brown, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. So looking at that, Devontae Adams is off my board this week. So I'm not going to play Devontae Adams. He's too expensive.
It's the price, isn't it, as well?
Oh, 100%.
When it's, what is he above everyone else? And when the next guy is, like Tyreek Hill's 16.4 and then Diggs at 15, it's going to be hard to play him.
There's $2,000 difference between him and Diggs. I'll take Diggs.
Yes, that's right. And probably, and again, I think we were talking about the pace. Green Bay are playing slow. And Rodgers, the only thing going, Rodgers is a reasonable price though. Like he's 1, 2, 3.
He is.
He's a 7th priced quarterback at 13.6. So that's you're not spending much, but he hasn't have to do much.
It's been 8 weeks since he's hit anything over 24 points.
Yeah,
and if he's priced at 13.6, I still wanted to be hitting 26, 27 points, but he hasn't shown that almost all year, really.
Yeah, and he's only hit over 26. And so with someone who doesn't rush as much, you need him to hit that 300-yard bonus. He's done that once for the year.
And I don't know if I can trust Minnesota to push Green Bay, to be honest. So
I don't know.
Who knows? Let's be honest, because Minnesota
they like to keep games close.
They do, and then they like to lose them as well.
Now last week against the Chargers,
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
it's the other guy on the other side. And aside from a couple of games where he hit 28 back in September and 31 in October, he hasn't really done much over 21 for about 2 months, really. So Kirk Cousins, I'm hesitant on. Green Bay's defense have shown up as well. So as much as I love playing Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, this week is not one that I can really bring myself to do it. Jefferson I can sprinkle in. I think I'll sprinkle in some Justin Jefferson because of his talent and what he brings to the table. He's only 14,000. Can he hit 28 points? Yes, of course he can. That's definitely possible for him.
Thielen sub 12K is tempting though.
Yeah, it is. We've seen 2 weeks now though of what do you have? 11.5, 5 for 65, and then 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, 2 for 6 and 1 touchdown, which salvaged his day.
Yeah.
So I can't quite get behind it. I think there's better plays out there. So when I look at this Green Bay Minnesota game, I think initially like, oh, that sounds good, but more I look into it, the more I am more likely to fade it, especially compared to some of the other games coming up. So that's kind of where I sit with that one. Conklin, I'll still play Conklin. Conklin is still priced at only 7,500 for a tight end. So that's not too expensive, but it's not super cheap either. There's a few other guys probably like Komet that I'll probably favour over Conklin this week.
Yeah, I think it's now reaching that point where, we can't trust him at that price, really. It's not worth the, I'd probably rather do a punt on KJ Osborne at 6K, really.
Yeah.
Because I kind of view them they're both that added piece that one of them might hit pay dirt, but it's not going to be both.
Green Bay, though, only giving up 29.9 points to the wide receiver position per week. So it's hard to see where that's going to go. If Justin Jefferson's going to get, say, 20 of it, then there's only 10 points left to go around.
What do you think the roster percentage is going to be for these games? So
after JJ had a massive week last week, then I think he'll be reasonably rostered.
So you think there'll be a few, Rodgers, Adams, Jefferson stacks?
There might be a few. I don't think the slate's going to go too crazy over them. There's better ones. We'll get to them.
No, and obviously, Adams is very expensive, but I think Rodgers being fairly reasonable price, people might find that it's an okay stack. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
I think it's something to sort of listen, see. But yeah, it's something that it's not going to be one of the games.
For sure. If you want to go down from the big guys, then Aaron Rodgers is there.
Yeah. All right, move on.
Next up, what do we got? We have got Tennessee taking on Houston. Tennessee 10-point favorites. It's a 44.5 point total. What are we looking at here, Arch? I feel like this is another game we can get through quickly.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll take Tennessee in the points, thanks. 10 points isn't enough. Maybe I should put something on right now. 27.25 implied team total for Tennessee. AJ Brown, hurt us last week.
Go back to the well?
I'm going back. I'm definitely going back.
15K?
Sorry?
15K? Not too expensive for you?
No, I'll take, and if that's the thing, he's gone up in price after a bad game. That, to me, tells me the people are going to be off him. And so, again, we don't want to be playing the chalk. That's how otherwise we don't win these contests. So I think if he goes off and has a ceiling game against Houston, which is more than possible, Tannehill could just have a field day, especially, don't forget, Henry's not in the team at the moment. So, and saying that, I'm thinking, what are some nice, cheap plays in this game? Every Tennessee running back is 8K.
Don't tell me you want to play any of them.
I'm not going to.
No
but
way.
if you think you've got some insider knowledge, if something comes out during the week that we know we can have some confidence, it's interesting though.
I need 2 injuries.
yeah, 2.
I'm not going to pick any of these guys when it comes to.
Yeah, no, it's a thin play, but I don't know. I just found it. Ooh, yeah, I guess draft stars are thinking the same thing, I guess. But yeah, like I was, look at my spreadsheet here, Rowan, and you look, everyone's just stone cold minimum, except for AJ Brown and Ryan Tannehill and the Titans defense. So like that's it. And like on the Houston side, it's like it's the same. It's Cooks and Taylor. So I don't mind an AJ Brown, Brandon Cooks mini stack. Like Cooks got 14 targets last week with Tyrod back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sure, he might not. They might not get down the field, but he's going to catch the ball, and a full point PPR, and Cooks is what, 12K. He's not super cheap, but he's definitely a value here, I think.
Yeah, I can see Brandon Cooks hitting 20 points. It's definitely doable for him. And if they somehow manage to get into the red zone, then Cooks is the guy they'll look for more than anyone else, you'd think. So, yeah, Brandon Cooks, I can see that. And AJ Brown. Yeah, I don't mind the Brown Cooks mini stack. That's probably the only thing I'll probably take out of this game.
Look, I've been interested in Nico Collins over the last few weeks to see how he's going. I don't think this week's the week, really, because it's going to be too much for Houston to be able to be but I just hope he's out the field more, because I think he's a talent to keep an eye on.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, we've got a big game. Buffalo taking on Indianapolis. Buffalo, 7-point favorites, though, in a 50-point total. Is this game stackable? Heck yes, it's stackable. Look, since Indianapolis has lost, I think they've got 2 starting safeties, 2 starting cornerbacks in Rhodes, and I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head. They've been out for a little while, and you can throw on the Colts. Seriously, they've been woeful. And particularly, one thing I have been noticing is that there's been touchdowns and targets given to tight ends week in, week out against the Colts. And so when I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at the Buffalo tight end, Dawson Knox. Last week he came back, had a stinker. Coming back from injury, had a stinker. That's okay, everybody. I think people might be put off old Dawson Knox after last week. He's priced at 7.8K.
Yeah, I like that.
But he is a guy that can go bang. We saw before his injury in the when was that? A few weeks ago now. Bloody draft stars just gives me dates. So on the 11th of October. And the
if
4th
you go to
of October,
Game Log, you'll see it more.
Yeah. No, still says the dates. Doesn't give me round
What are you
one.
talking about?
It doesn't. Anyway, against Kansas City and Houston, old Dawson Knox here is going for a couple touchdowns and a big 100-yard game. So Dawson Knox can go bang. I love him at his price and in this spot against the Colts. So big fan of Dawson Knox. And because Dawson Knox is back, where are you looking?
Right here.
Brought it up on the screen there. Also, though, on the other side, I've got... Yeah, I know who was against Arch. I just didn't know what week it was. Week.
Oh, that's what you... All right, I should listen to you more.
Yeah.
I've still got that Justin Fields stack sitting there.
Just taught that again. Look, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, they're expensive, but if they're going to repeat last week, then you want them. You just do. So, big fan of Allen stacks here. Get different. Play Knox and play Sanders if you want to fade Stephon Diggs. Maybe you think Stephon Diggs doesn't repeat. Cole Beasley's, I think, dealing with a bit of a niggle, but he was doing that last week as well and played, so he should be out in the field. The thing that I noticed, though, is that when Knox was playing well, Beasley was ignored. He wasn't being utilized as much in the passing game. So looking at that, I'm probably going... I'm not going to play Knox and Beasley in the same thing. I don't think you need to get so... I feel like if you're doing both of that, you're galaxy braining a little bit. You're kind of thinking too hard about it. So happy to double stack this, though, with Josh Allen and 2 pass catches. Definitely. I'm still going to avoid the Buffalo running backs. Singletary and Moss, I just can't decipher. I just don't feel safe about either of them, and I don't think they have a ceiling.
There's no ceiling. We want ceiling.
That's right. Carson Wentz is an interesting play. Carson Wentz is obviously had a bit of a stinker last week. He was playing Jacksonville, and Jonathan Taylor just ran the ball a heck of a lot. So it wasn't that he played poorly per se. Week before that, 24 points, 20 points, 20 points. So he's priced under 12K on DraftStars. So if he can hit over 20 points, I think you're doing fine. So Carson Wentz is a bit like a Justin Fields here, Arch, where I could see Carson Wentz and Michael Pittman be a strong stack that kind of runs the opposite way, that goes counter to what I think is going to be chalk. Like the Buffalo stacks are chalk most weeks. So an Indianapolis stack here could be interesting. Michael Pittman's only there at 10,900. Now, Buffalo, yes, their defense is very, very good, and they've been playing lights out. But if you want to see, like, the Colts have been a good offense, and they've been really solid. Jonathan Taylor will run the ball and get stuff happening on the ground, which will allow Wentz and Pittman to produce. So
It's a tougher defense than they've faced for a long time.
For sure. I mean, what have they played? They've played Jacksonville, Jets, Tennessee, San Francisco, Houston in the last 5. So I'll give you that. But hey, people, there's always that talk about correlation between quarterbacks. If one quarterback's doing well, then there's a pretty strong medium correlation. I think I just contradicted
Unless you
myself
think
there,
it's just an absolute onslaught week.
I just don't know if it is. I feel like the Colts are better than that, but
I feel like the pace might get slowed down with Buffalo's defense, that Indianapolis won't be able to be effective runners. That's my worry.
All right, that's a fair worry. You have to talk about the opposite side of what could happen, the good and the bad. So, look, Colts don't come without risk, that's for sure. Buffalo, though, will be pretty chalky on this slate. Anyway, there you go. Next up, well, unless you want to add anything to that, Arch.
No, keep
cool. Jets taking on Miami. We are all pumped for this game. Miami have a 3.5 point favorites with a 45-point total. Okay, Arch, talk us through this game. Do you like anything here?
I don't mind some Miami. Look, I think there's some playable pieces, especially like if you're in the micro. I think there are some stacks that you can play here. Miami can be good for fantasy if you play the right pieces. I think Tua's shown that he can have good games, and Waddle's shown that he can be something, and Gaskin with volume and opportunity does well as well. So I think there's definitely opportunities here, and so I don't mind a Tua Waddle stack. And with Joe Flacco starting, now I'm not going to bring up Joe Flacco in one of my lineups, even though he's outrageously cheap at 8.9K. I think I looked it up. Where is he? 8,990, like basically 9K quarterback, which is outrageous, but I just can't do it.
Nope.
Just on principle. But he's a veteran guy. He's a game manager, and so I think there's going to be some. I think you can play a Jets wide receiver here. I don't think they're just out. So I don't mind an Elijah Moore this week getting some targets. Corey Davis is a sneaky play potentially, but these are not cash plays. These are
oh no.
But if you're looking to get real different and sprinkle something, there is a Tua stack that you can play. I don't like Gaskin's only 8.8K. Like, do I need to say any more?
Oh, look, Gaskin is just the epitome of boom bust. It's so ugly.
And don't you think this is going to be a boom week
pattern? Then it's his on week this week. So
he's playing the Jets.
He's playing the Jets.
Now Jets are an okay defense, and here's a little risky play. What do you think about a bit of a Jets defense?
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely not a totally horrible play.
Yeah.
Because defenses, we don't really ever know exactly what they're going to put out. It's possible that Tua throws a pick. It's possible that Gaskin fumbles. It's possible that they struggle to put up points, that Gesicki gets targeted 7 times and doesn't catch the thing.
I mean, it sounds silly that we are talking about a Jets Miami, but like Vegas they're not out on this game either. They're a 45 over under isn't like abominable. Like they're saying that there's points to be had still in this game. Obviously, Miami's the favorite, so that's where we're sort of leaning with some Tua stacks. And I think the Jets can keep it interesting to make Tua keep throwing, and he can still wheel off a couple of things. I don't mind it. So I don't mind Tua stack. I don't mind a little bit of Gaskin this week.
Let me ask you this question, because in the space of in the space of $1,000 on Draft Stars, you've got Tua at 12.2. You've got Carson Wentz at 11.74 and Justin Fields at 11.66. Who's your pick if you're going to play either of those pieces and build a stack?
So say that again. I was vagued out here.
So you've got Tua at 12.3. You've got Wentz at 11.7, and Justin Fields effectively 11.7, 11.66 as well. Who would you prefer to build a stack around?
I'm out on Wentz. I'm not going to touch him.
Okay. Well, for $600 difference, Tua or Fields?
Yeah, you got to think Tua's maybe a little bit more safe. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're my two, Rowan.
Oh, that would be something else, wouldn't it? But look, you're right. Both of them have the potential to do pretty well. And Tua, I think, has the better pieces around him. So that's probably where I lean. I'd probably go Tua. You could build a lot of stacks with Gaskin involved if he's going to get targeted, if you think that's going to be the case. So, but a Tua, Gesicki, Waddle stack, bring it back with Elijah Moore. You haven't spent anything, then bring the big guys in. Like, that's what we're saying. There's things that we can do on this slate this week to make things interesting. So, I like that. Anything else you want to say from this game?
No.
Now, next up, we have something that we would like you guys to all jump on board with.
Yes.
And that's our Patreon. So, now, bit of announcement. Unfortunately, next week, it's just crazy time for us.
It is.
It's just literally our jobs as teachers. The things that unfortunately pay the real bills. We have intense weeks next week with formals, graduations, and whole bunches of stuff that we just can't get out of.
I mean, in a way, it's amazing we're here tonight.
Oh, big time. It's just that crazy time of year. So unfortunately, we're really sad that we have to let you guys know there's no pod next week. Real disappointed about that, actually. Particularly with Thanksgiving and stuff like that. Which I love Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving slate is a fun day.
Don't get me wrong, we're still going to be playing that slate.
We are. And where will we be talking about it, Arch?
Oh, I reckon I might use the Discord to talk about it.
That's a good idea. Actually, I think I'll do that too. So, guys, jump on our Discord. It's only $2 a month.
Yes.
$2 a month. It's
Patreon.
nothing. Come and join. We've got a great bunch of guys who are wanting to learn more about DFS and play the stacks together and just have a good time. Like, we're really just enjoying talking strategy and sharing our wins, sharing our losses as well, and supporting one another in all of that. So it's great fun. So, guys, get on down to patreon.com/the TFL podcast. We have a bunch of tiers, but really it's $2 a month to join our Discord.
Don't listen to last episode where I talked about how the tiers are great.
That's right. So yeah, guys, for the cost of, less than the cost of a cup for coffee, come and join us at patreon.com/the TFL podcast and let's grow together.
Yes.
All right. Next up, Philadelphia taking on the New Orleans Saints. I've got close friends who love the Saints, and I'm a Philly fan. So I'll be watching this, but for no other reason than just wanting my team to win, because I hate this game. Philly apparently are 1.5-point favorites. That's something to me. 43.5 total. Look, Jalen Hurts has not been a fantasy quarterback for you the last month, essentially. He has been someone that I cannot recommend. He's priced at 12.6, sure, but in the last month, a 23.5 in October, the end of October, kind of ended his run of solid games. Then he put up 11.2, 16.7, 19.4. New Orleans are not going to be someone that they need to throw the ball heaps against. And heck, Philly could be winning by halftime, which means that we don't need to see the big second half that Hurts likes to put up. So, yeah, look, I'm going to avoid this game pretty much entirely. As good as Devonta Smith's been the last 2 weeks, I'm not coming back to the well, unfortunately. I can't bring myself to do it. I think
Kamara?
Better plays. Kamara is probably the only one that I'll consider, and he needs to be healthy.
Yes.
So he missed last week, and I can't play Kamara unless I don't see a Q next to his name, because they'll probably split it. Probably split it with Kamara and Ingram, and who knows? Ingram might get the touchdowns and score more. Like, this is it's just ugly. I mean, if you got it right, there's potential there, to really bolster your lineup with that. But either way, I'm not going to play any one of the Saints. Otherwise, I'm not playing Trevor Siemian. Heck, gosh, no. And Callaway, Dante Harris, Traquan Smith. You just don't know who's going to do decent. And none of them might do well. Darius Slay's playing well, so. Yeah, I'm avoiding. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to avoid. I might play the defenses. The defenses.
Devonta Smith interest you at all?
Look, I just said it, Arch.
Tough.
And I said it's tough, but I just can't.
What did
can't
I
quite-
do that again? Did I?
You did. 10.8K is cheap for what he can do, so it's tempting. But I think
Back to back. Yeah,
I'm thinking
it's
we're
a
going to avoid.
tough matchup. Yeah. No, I like that.
Philly Eagles defense 5.7K. I'll probably lean there. It was nice that they got a fumble recovery touchdown last week. That was very, very good. Helped my lineups a little bit after I recommended them last week. Everybody.
Yes.
Anyway, Philly defense is not a bad play. Arch, take us through this other fantastic game between Jacksonville and San Francisco.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Look. There's some points. Obviously, San Fran showed up last week, didn't they? And all of us in redraft holding on to Trey Lance, hoping when are they going to make the move? They win, and so it's going to be another few weeks, I think. Yeah, I'm not looking to stack this game at all. Don't try to think that you can get some amazing Trevor Lawrence at super cheap. Like there's no play here, and you're not going to play. You're not going to roll out Garoppolo. So I'm thinking pieces here. A 26-point implied team total on the San Fran side, so there's indication that there's some points to be had. Obviously, it's it's that borderline, where we really start getting excited. Debo with his target share, is I think a play that you can play this week at 13K. I think that's when you look at
that's pretty good price for Debo.
Yeah, but then potentially, I think this is a one where you got to look at some ownership projections because if everyone's playing him, then maybe you have to fade him at that price and maybe jump onto Ayuk, who's 3K cheaper, and people are still scared as all heck to play Ayuk. 2 weeks ago he did all right. Didn't think he. What did he do on Monday night, Rowan?
Look, he had 3 for 26.
Yeah, so he's going to be probably low owned. I think that's a way to get different. So for this game, I'm looking at a piece, and it would be one of them too. And I think ownership's going to, I guess, direct me which one I'm going to go for.
Sure.
What do we know about Elijah Mitchell at the moment, Rowan? Do we?
Yeah, look, they're expecting him to play. He's questionable. He's limited in practice at the moment. I think he didn't practice. So Shanahan's still saying they expect him to get up for the weekend. And look, his usage is awesome. 27
and only
carries
10K with that usage. So monitored practice for him.
Sure.
Other than that, if he were to not play, Rowan, who are you?
It's Jeff Wilson.
Is it Jeff Wilson?
10 carries last week. Played second to Eli Mitchell. I think Jermichael Hasty's still out. So Jeff Wilson's the guy. If Mitchell's out, then Jeff Wilson at 8K is, I think, a very good play against Jacksonville.
What's the deal with Trey Sermon?
He's just not as good as people want him to be. I think that's it. Sure. Like, they took him in the third round, and then Eli Mitchell
even the
fifth,
team thought he was going to be better than...
Yeah. Well, that's because he was solid at the end of his college career.
Yeah. Anyway, it's funny things, but other than that, I'm not really excited. I'm more just looking. I like a bit of Debo, but if he's too highly steamed up this week, I probably will fade him.
Yeah, that's fair. Next up, we got Carolina versus Washington. It's a 3.5-point favorites to Carolina and a 43-point total. So it probably means I'm gonna avoid this game again.
Yes.
Look. Narrative street time. Cam Newton is back.
Oh, he's back, baby! Superman!
Look, that was awesome. Last week was awesome watching Cam Newton grace the field and rush it for a touchdown and then pass for a touchdown in just 2 plays. So that was phenomenal. Loved it. And it's against Washington. I can see the narrative. I can see it happening where Newton and McCaffrey and DJ Moore just totally annihilate the football team. But the football team did pretty well against Tampa Bay last week, and Carolina have also got a really good defense. So I'm looking at this game going, it's probably McCaffrey or bust. And Terry McLaurin is there as a mini stack with CMC and Terry, but I don't know. Terry I can't trust at the moment against the Carolina defense that is playing really good defense. I would rather just find another play at a similar price there. So, look, it'd be fun to play with Cam. It'd be fun to win with Cam. But I can't quite do it.
Yeah.
I need to see a full game from Cam before I can really jump on. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe you have to hit Cam now when the ownership's going to be super low.
Let's just remember, the guy couldn't throw. Like,
he's had like 7 months now to rest his shoulder and not do anything with it. So not
yeah,
7 months, but he hasn't. Anyway,
I don't know.
the TFL advice is avoid this game. Ah, dear. Next up, we have.
Yes.
Let's jump into these afternoon games. We've got 3 here, which 2 of them are really enticing for me. Well, let's jump in first, Arch. We got the Vegas Raiders taking on Cincinnati Bengals, a 49.5 point total. Cincinnati only a 1 point favorite. I think there's points to be had here.
Oh, yeah. Now, and that's the thing. Cincinnati are starting to move back to that passing onslaught that they gave Burrow the license to in his rookie year, I think. And so I think there's a chance that we see that to continue. And I think, I like some Cincinnati stacks this week.
Nice.
What do you think?
You want to elaborate on that any further? Just all of them?
Well, yeah. Well, look, I mean, I'm just looking at Burrow's, use pass attempts over the last few weeks.
Sure.
Against Cleveland, he had 40 pass attempts, 34 against the Jets, 38 against Baltimore. Like, he's getting, he's throwing.
He is. And I really love Higgins this week. Higgins is the target king.
Yeah.
In this.
I can see myself doing a Burrow, Chase, and T. Higgins.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
When he's throwing that much, 2 of them can get there. Uzoma, he's still up sub 7K, so he's in play. He could score a touchdown as well. So I don't mind a little bit of him. I think where I'm struggling and just, still, again, just getting my feel for the slate still at this stage is just working out, is there a bring back option? And I think there is. I think that Las Vegas, they can keep up. Like, there's only a 1 point, favorite to Cincinnati here. Is it Waller? Is it, or Josh Jacobs? I just can't get behind Renfro. I know.
What? Why not? I love Renfro.
I like him as a football player, but I don't know if he can just be that guy. Like, is he the...
Mate, last 2 weeks.
I know.
How good is this? I love it. 7 for 46 and 1 and 7 for 49 and 1. That's like pretty much the same. Then 7 for 58. He's had 7 receptions 3 weeks in a row. Like, that's bankable. Take that. That's so safe. He's priced under 11K. Like, he is a fantastic bring back, I think. They're going to use him all day, every day. And if this is going to be a game where they're playing catch up, or if they're just throwing the ball a lot, because both of these teams love to throw in the neutral, then, yeah, I'll really like Renfro. I think this is, you could play a Higgins Renfro stack, a Chase Renfro stack, like, just like in your other pieces as well. Like, I think that's so doable to get a little bit different on the slate, and it's not costing you much either. Like, these guys are just high target players. Like, they're gonna get given the ball.
I think this game has the potential to be an optimal lineup where, the game we're going to get to at the end of the show is probably where the bulk of the public are going to head. And so we're, the 49.5 point total, like over under, I think this is the chance, I think, to get different and you could do some damage.
And then if you want to get different again, you play Mixon. Vegas Raiders giving up 27 PPR points a game to the running back position.
The only thing to keep in mind, Burrow and Mixon have very bad correlation together. Like, they just don't work together.
Bring it back though if you're playing a Derek Carr stack.
Yep. But yeah, I probably won't go to Mixon because I'm probably more thinking that it's going to be Burrow this week.
Yeah. No, fair call. All right. Well, the game that I got given here is the one that I don't care that much about, and it's Seattle versus Arizona, where you've got a banged-up Colt McCoy taking on Russell Wilson, who just bombed, but Arizona defense is playing really well. Arizona are 2.5 point favorites and a 48 point total. I'd be going the under here. This is
As you've read that out, I'm thinking I reach for my phone. I think I'm going to put something on the under right now. Like if it's 48, and what Pete Carroll's just already said, he wants to run it more.
Just run the ball, run the ball. I think when I look at this contest and these teams, look, Russell Wilson against Arizona is not the way that I want to play this. It's too thin, way too thin.
No.
So I'm going to definitely pass on that. You've got Metcalf priced at 13.4. James Conner is probably the only piece that I care about at 12.5. Hopkins looks to be out again. Kyler Murray looks to be out again, like I said. Tyler Lockett, 12.3. No thanks. He's a yo-yo. Yes, he could hit, but not against Arizona. I just can't see it happening. Christian Kirk at 10.7 is interesting enough to consider because Seattle's defense has been pretty atrocious. Seattle, when I'm looking at against the pass, they're 25th against the pass in DVOA. Surprisingly, they're 11th against the rush in DVOA. That being said, I'm still liking James Conner as they play from the front.
Yeah, there's volume, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% is volume. Other than that, Alex Collins looks to be the starter, but he's questionable. Chris Carson still niggling
out,
neck injuries.
They reckon he's out?
Yeah, I think so. So Alex Collins is the guy, but it's like he's priced at 8,200. Like I get that it's enticing, but I just
games go slow, and there's not many.
He
points.
needs to fall into the end zone.
Yeah.
So look, it could happen with Russ. It could, but I just don't want to go to this game at all in any capacity. So, yeah, I'll be passing on this one. And with that, we get to our final game on the slate, which is a juicy matchup between Kansas City and Dallas. 2.5 points. Favorites are the Chiefs with a 55.5 total. It's just crazy. Like, everyone is going to be flocking to this game, Arch. And I have nothing to say against that. Like, why wouldn't you just play all the Chiefs and all of the Cowboys this week?
Look, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, your cash lineups are going to be full of these guys. But you got to. I think the thing with this game is everyone's going to be playing them, and you're not going to win because everyone's playing them. Like you might min cash.
Have to get different,
and so Dallas. The pace is there. Look, you look at my spreadsheet's popping green everywhere, isn't it? Like you look, the total, the implied teams on both sides are high. The pace of play is high. Yep. But you just how do we get this game? We want pieces because of the points in our lineups, but potentially we just have to, potentially I might have to fade just on the game theory approach. Because I have to get different. And so Dak stacks were under-owned last week. I think in the mini, I had Dak at a, 8% with CeeDee Lamb at 9%. Like, I was laughing with that.
That's good.
That's not happening this week.
Nope.
No way.
Especially with CeeDee Lamb at only 14,000.
Yep. Yeah, so, it's just... So I'm thinking it's Gallup. It's Schultz as pieces of this game that are going to be the more under-owned pieces. Your Mecole Hardman, your Pringle as someone who's 6K who if he with so many targets and points to go around that he gets in the end zone and he pushes lineups through. They're the pieces that I'm probably more interested in if I'm building with other stacks.
Pringle's probably one of my favorite 6K wide receivers, to be honest. He's come in and played more snaps than Mecole Hardman.
The snaps are incredible.
That's like he's playing a lot, and we've seen him get in the end zone a couple of times this season, so 3 times to be exact. And definitely. Pringle's a great way to differentiate the stack and even just play something cheap on those other stacks and still have exposure to the game. I think that's Pringle's great.
So so the thing is, if you're gonna fade this game, you obviously have to hit on the stacks you choose. But if this game fails, you are so far ahead of the field, it's not funny.
Yeah.
And so, how's this game going to go is the question. Is it a back and forth? Like Vegas suggests that it is a 2.5 point, favorites to Kansas City, high points, back and forth, high pace. Like that's probably the more likely it seems. There's a chance that, Dallas puts up a dud effort like they did 2 weeks ago, and Kansas City dominates like they just did against Las Vegas. That's a possibility. Or Dallas maybe gets a lead and controls the clock on the run with the run game with Pollard and Zeke. So there's definitely ways that you can see this game doesn't live up to expectations.
Yeah.
But if you want to win, these GPPs, you're gonna have to fade this game or get different somewhere else.
Well, I as well with the stack itself. Darrell Williams he's only 9K this week.
There's a talk that CEH is back, isn't it?
Yeah, if he is, CEH is 8K.
Yeah, does he get all the work though?
Well, maybe.
And
maybe
what kind
not,
of work?
It's a high point total. This is a game that you can play it with, and you could play Mahomes, Hill, Williams, bring it back with CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper, like that. It gets different. People aren't going to do that. But
here's a way to get different, Rowan.
I'm listening.
Zeke with the Dallas defense.
That would be an insane play. But oh man, wouldn't that be something?
Well, Diggs gets an interception.
Yeah, well, that's it. This could be one of those, remember when the Chiefs played the Rams? The defenses were awesome, but the offenses were awesome too. Like, this could be one of those games where, especially like Trayvon Diggs runs it back for a pick six.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many points are on the board when they're doing that.
Exactly. Like, this is a game for turnovers.
And Dallas is stone cold minimum 4K. Oh, I'm talking myself into this one.
Oh, man. That's not bad, eh? Put that with your Justin Fields stack and see how that runs.
Well, you put that with Zeke. Like, Zeke's only 13K. Like,
yeah. That's it. The more we talk about the slate, the more fun it is. Like, there's so many different ways to play this week. Oh, it's going to be
You do realize I'm clipping back this episode, this part of the show, if I hit on a Zeke Dallas stack, and I will be a genius.
Oh, yeah, you will. Hey, look, I'll play a lineup too. If we can win together, that'd be fantastic. Oh, that would be something else. Anyway, look, the one thing with this game is that it's going to leave you with, you're going to be strapped for cash in other positions around the place. So that's why I like Darrell Williams as well. He's only 9K, or CH if he gets up only 8K. So that allows you a bit of salary relief, but it means that you're playing a punt wide receiver, you're playing really low price running backs, and your defense probably will be like, maybe playing Detroit potentially against Cleveland. So that's the thing you have to consider. That if you want to play the big guys with Hill, Kelsey, and Lamb and whatnot, you have to consider what does that leave the rest of your lineup with. And maybe it's fine. If it was last week, it would have been great, Dearness Johnson and whatnot. But either way, you have to make those considerations. Oh, it's going to be fun. Arch, I'm really pumped now. I'm really pumped for the week ahead. It's going to be awesome.
No, I love it when there's a clear out and out, big game that people are going to flock to, because I think that's an opportunity.
It is.
Or we'll get buried. Or we'll get buried by the chalk.
Yeah, that's the danger. But hey, you play to win.
Yes.
And if you can smash something else, get that 1% Burrow stack and just go to town with it. That would be great. Fun. Look, two other primetime games. We got Chargers taking on Pittsburgh. I think all we can say there is Najee Harris is going to just go full beast mode.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got Tampa Bay taking on the Giants, which will be interesting enough, but I think Brady bounces back after a bad week and just demolishes the Giants.
Yeah, I think the 11-point favorite tag is telling.
Oh, yeah. Leonard Fournette game, perhaps.
Yeah.
Friends, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you just smash it this week in your lineups. And hey, play a Justin Fields stack for us.
Yes.
And we'll
with
see.
a bit of Zeke and Dallas defense.
That's right. Hit that up. All right. Just been fun.
No worries.
Gotcha.
Bye-bye.